What's up? Welcome back to Brunch with Britney. Another episode. Grab your drinks, get ready. I'm doing H2O today. I think we both are, me and my guest today, which I will introduce in a second because I brought this guest on because as well as this is a girls girl podcast, it's also to teach men some things. And my friend, who I've known for years, okay, since I was like a teen, all right, well, he has gone on to do so many different things with his life, with careers. And one of the things was fashion, between fashion and just high end, I would say. What would you call it? Well, by the way, let me welcome Jesus here.
What's up? Hi, Britney.
Hey, Jesus. So I'm so glad you're here.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so glad you're here because I was like, who's the perfect person to talk to the men about fashion, style, what do's and don'ts, because you've been around a lot of high-end brands and companies that you've worked for. If you want to name any, if you can.
Sure. So I've worked with Movado. I've worked with Nordstrom. Those are like the two big ones that I'd say I've worked with.
And I know like you would get a lot of clientele too that would come in and like, they spend a lot of money in there, and there were certain things that they would teach you about all of the high end stuff, whether it be from watches to outfits to cologne to how to apply all of that. So I wanted to talk to you today for the men who are struggling with fashion or just, don't know what to do, don't know where to start. You, to me, are the guide. You are the go-to, like you have those answers.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yes. Okay. So let's start with one of the things for me that I always notice with men, the fashion shirts that have the logo brands on them. How are the men supposed to be wearing those? Because some are very, logoed out. How does that come off in, what would you say how does that come off?
Well, I'm going to start off by saying I don't feel like I'm an expert. I think that I've found success in like my fashion game just through trial and error. Mm-hmm. And like you said, because I've worked with so many higher end brands and around higher end clientele and even just kind of the people I associate myself with, I tend to watch and learn from those guys and see what they're doing because I want to really imitate. And early on in my life, I knew I wanted to kind of grow and to be in that space. When it comes to logos, I'm anti-logo anything, unless it's like a classic brand like Ralph Lauren.
Okay, so wait, because there's different versions of Ralph Lauren.
There's the U.S. Polo Association. That one, I think, no.
Okay.
And I will say, like, early on in high school, I was big on brands with, like, I don't know if you remember, like, Echo or, like, South Pole.
Oh, my God. Echo was a big one for sure.
I remember I wanted a Sean John tracksuit so badly just to, like, have the logo.
Yes.
But I think as you get older, you really just don't want to cause, at least for me, that much attention to, like, what you're wearing. Because it kind of can distract from, like, who you're with, the conversation, if you're on a date, if you're interviewing or meeting someone important. So I, myself, am, like, very anti-logo heavy.
Yes.
Unless it's, like I said, a classic brand. You can still maybe get away with like Tommy Hilfiger, like old school classic brands that have been around for a long time.
And what like style would you say? Like, okay, so we're in summer, and I feel like there's fashions for every time of the year, but we're here in Florida specifically. But in summer, it's a lot of like, to me, I think linen is great on men. Like, what are you wearing right now? What is this made out of?
This is like a silky material. Again, summer, you got to know your fabrics, gentlemen, because you don't want to be a sweaty mess outside or when you're with someone.
Yeah, like you said, like especially on a date too, because you want to make sure that you wear the proper attire. Like, you don't want to be sweating through it. We are in Florida, but yeah. So to me, like the linens, which I thought that's what this was, but something light, something thin, and the colors. Like you're wearing cream. What colors do the guys need to have in their wardrobe?
Again, for me, it's like calling less attention to what you're wearing to like focus on what is in front of you or who's in front of you. For me, I don't try to wear too many colors depending on where I'm at, right? Like I tend to dress for who I'm going to be with or where I'm going. If I'm in Miami, you bring out all the colors, loud, bright stuff that you want to.
Right.
If I'm in Naples having dinner somewhere, for sure, like muted, neutral tones, one pop of color and like something neutral, just like I'm wearing, like a little bit of blue, cream colored shirt, easy. And it makes it easier, I think, in your wardrobe to mix and match stuff. So you're not like buying a ton of different shirts. And even for me, a lot of what I've had for a long time since I'd say around college is when I really started to find brands or clothes that I felt fit my aesthetic and like where I wanted to be or grow into. So for me, that was J. Crew. So a lot of muted, not super loud. They did have a lot of like floral and bright colored shirts, which I do have, but I'd say overall my wardrobe is a lot more muted and not like super loud anymore.
I was gonna say I've never seen you in floral. Okay, let me start there. So you're clearly not using those shirts. No, but I do think that you can use them. You can get away with them if you do them. And by correctly, I just mean like if you're gonna do a floral, do it with a nice color. Like mint green is really nice, on men. I think that color goes with everyone. The colors to me though, I think that a lot of men miss out on it. The typical go-to, right, is like black. You got to go to black. That's the easiest thing to dress and wear for men. But I think that they're missing the browns, the creams, in those in-between tones and versus black, gray, or blue.
Sure.
Right? Like black, gray, and blue to me is the color guys feel most easiest to grab.
I also think it comes with comfort level when you understand like color schemes and like the color wheel, like understanding what colors look good on you. Like I would never wear orange because I look like an Oompa Loompa because I'm like fairer skinned, right? Okay. But like a lot of the other colors that you mentioned, like lighter colors, I think work well with my skin tone. Mm-hmm. So like yellow, orange, red is a good color to like venture out with. And I think when you understand color patterns and like the color wheel, which is very basic, you can understand how to like make an outfit for what you're wearing and where you're going. I
will say be careful with the reds though. The reds can be very alarming. Like they can be very aggressive. So red looks good, but
I have read that red in an interview, like a red tie gives off like a sense of power. So for an interview, wear a red tie.
Okay, red tie. I don't think I've ever paid attention to a red tie like on a suit, but I get it in an interview setting. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So with those colors being in mind and tops, we're talking about tops. I see a lot of like a button-up shirt that you're wearing today. I know a lot of men would throw a wife beater underneath there. Why? What's the substitute for that? Right? Because I've seen so many men do this.
I'm only about to laugh because the substitute is don't wear one, period, at all. Okay. I don't think that they're flattering in general for us men because it gives off, there's always been this image, I think, with wife beaters where just like, I think of like my dad that like comes home from work. It's sweaty, it's dirty, it's never crisp and white. And it kind of hugs you in maybe not the most flattering areas if you're not like exercising, which is fine. And I also think under a dress shirt, it just looks weird. Mm-hmm. I always think about weddings sometimes where like guys will wear a white beater under a white shirt and like when you're sweating it starts to stick to your shirt. Oh. So it just looks like, I don't think as presentable or as polished is what I'd say.
So just go without it.
Without it.
Yeah, because I just think that it's something, I don't know what the reason is behind it, but I think it's more of a comfort level, but it's like, no, just take it off.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a lot, at least for me, like I feel sexier, like more masculine without one on. I don't even think I own one. I think I tossed those out a long time ago because you just realize that you don't need those.
You don't need them. Now, okay, buttons, because there is a level of like, where's appropriate for the buttons to be unbuttoned?
Depends on the shirt. I would say max 2.
Max 2 unbuttoned.
Unbuttoned.
Like today you have how many? One unbuttoned.
But this is more of like a dressier shirt.
Okay.
Like if I'm hitting the club, we're going to take 2 down. Or if I'm wearing a floral shirt, I'll take 2 down for sure. Okay. And I think it also depends again on the atmosphere. When you have one undone, it's a little bit more refined or polished. Whereas like if it's 2, it's a little bit more like loose and fun. So I think it warrants that depending on where you're at or who you're with.
I see. Okay. But anytime, if the unbuttoning is going down to the middle of the chest, like it's obnoxious. I don't care how good your body is. I don't care if you look like David Beckham, it's tacky. It's very like run away from that man. Red flag, I would say.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Okay. Let's move on to bottoms because there's, the easy thing I think is jeans. Maybe slacks. I mean, every man should have slacks, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So what do you suggest for the bottoms?
I'm big into trousers. So they're more fitted dress pants or even like a pair of chinos. They're not as dressy as maybe slacks are, but they're a little bit more polished than maybe wearing jeans are.
Trousers go like above your knee or are those pants?
No, they're pants.
Oh, they are pants.
Yeah, but trousers tend to be more fitted or tailored to your body.
Okay. They sound a little more like a casual, comfortable, but still elevated look?
For sure.
Okay.
And I think brands like Lululemon make really good ones where you can dress them up or down. Mm. And again, like jeans, casual, but if you want to go somewhere nicer, like there you can still dress them up, but doesn't have the same impact, I think, at least.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Now jeans, I don't care if it's a light or a dark wash. Is that something that they should consider? Like
I tend to like light washes, but that's just preference. Because as I tend to wash, you have to think about longevity with clothes. At least I think about that. Like darker washes are going to start to fade.
Yeah.
So if you have a lighter wash, it's going to, I think, wear more naturally and just look better.
I remember like being told like if you put your pants inside out, your jeans inside out and wash them, that they don't fade as quick. And I still don't know if that's true, but I've always just washed my pants like that. So
I'm not sure. I've gotten a little bit pickier as I've gotten older. I tend to dry clean even to my jeans now.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm still washing mine, so they're going in the laundry.
That's fine. But again, I think as much as I've spent on clothes, I don't shop anymore really hardly if ever because I've invested so much time in better quality clothing. I think of this saying, buy less but better. So I'd rather invest in like a good pair of jeans that I know is going to last me a long time.
Yes.
So yeah.
No, I'm the same way. Like I had to learn that the hard way. I was doing fast fashion, and oh my god, like the clothes don't last 1.5 washes. What is it? The light cycle, delicates. But yeah, so that's important to have those core pieces that are gonna last you a long time. Belts, like.
I don't wear belts. Again, as I've gotten older, one of I think my biggest, I wouldn't say hacks or secrets that has made me feel comfortable and maybe people tend to look to me for fashion advice is I'd say almost all of my clothes tailored unless it already fits me from when I bought it. So like this shirt, I bought it at a thrift store, but most people would think I spent a lot of money on it.
Yeah, I would not have
But
guessed.
again, I paid $5 for it and I paid to have it tailored. One, it helps me feel better because it's suited to my figure. And it also helps me keep my health and weight in check because I'm like, I already spent this money on all these clothes I own. I don't want to gain weight.
I can't change.
Because I've gotten it tailored.
Right, that so makes sense. So wait, for thrifting, right? Or if you just go, where do you? I guess was it just through working in retail that learned you to learn your fit, what looks good on you, or because you can go by your own eye, but that is not always gonna work. Like you had to go to a second opinion and be like, does this actually look good on me?
I'm for sure the guy in the store that's like calling the girls. I'm like, does this look good? I think at this stage in my life, I know what works well with my body and what doesn't. But again, because I understand my style, like I tend to be more polished, refined, more tailored looks than I would like a baggy pair of jeans or an oversized shirt because it's just like not my vibe.
Have you seen the way Justin Bieber has been dressing lately?
I mean, it's Justin Bieber. He can get away with whatever he wants.
No, he cannot.
But I think it would be cool if he went back to just like younger Justin. I think he did wear a lot more not as big or baggy clothes.
Everything's baggy. Everything's oversized. I thought it was a phase. He's still going through it.
And I think for me, he's married to Haley. Like she's put together. And I think a lot of the times people are like, why are you always dressed up? Or be more casual. For me, when I dress up, it's less about me and more about who I'm going to be with. It's out of respect for that person and who I'm meeting with, even if we're just having lunch. I always think about like when you go to an interview, you're not going to be dressed in like clothes you would probably wear at home, but it's out of respect for the interviewer and the company you want to work for. When I'm having lunch or going out on a date, like the respect that I have for that woman or friend I'm meeting with, that's why I dress up a little bit more to show them like, they may not notice or care, but I dress up for that person to show them like, hey, a sign of respect. Like I'm giving you my best.
That's really thoughtful. You know, and that's obviously the best way to go about it, whether you're meeting a date or like going on an interview, because I've had girlfriends where I remember one girl went on a date and she told me like he showed up sweaty, like already sweaty, know? Like, I mean, so not everybody takes that consideration where it's like you really didn't shower before you went on a date.
Right.
You didn't do that. You know, another friend too, where he came in a suit, but she could tell he hadn't, like he was out all day. You know, like he showed up nice, but it didn't smell clean. And it's again, like you should have thought of that. Like, what are we doing here?
Absolutely. And like you said, I think it's really about intention. Like if this date or this relationship or meeting or whatever it is that you're doing when you meet with someone is important to you, then you'll make the extra effort to give your best, regardless of like, you don't need to be in a suit. You don't need to be super dressed up to the nines, but just like iron your clothes, put on some deodorant, some cologne, take a shower, brush your hair.
Right. But
Easy.
if you're meeting with me, definitely dress to the nines.
Absolutely.
Like, don't come baggy. Don't come any of that. Come correct. No, but and then so with those are the bottoms. Shoes though. What's the shoe that a man should never wear as like their go-to shoe on the daily?
Flip-flops. I actually don't own a single pair of sandals.
No, really?
No, I don't.
We're in Florida though. I mean, you kind of got to wear flip-flops once in a while. The beach.
You wear a boat shoe.
Oh, I do love the boat shoe look. Yes. Okay, that's true.
And again, I think when it comes to shoes, you don't need 15 pairs of shoes. I think I have the same rotation of 4 or 5 sets of shoes.
And what would you say those are?
So I have a Chelsea boot,
What the hell? What is that?
a boot that just comes up to your ankle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen those. Do you need it in like brown and black? Do you need
I
it?
have mine just in like a camel tan brown color.
Okay, yeah.
I have a loafer. I have more loafers, I think, than anything. Same thing, different tones of brown. A boat shoe. I do have a workout, nicer sneaker that I would wear maybe if I'm like running errands or something. But I'd say those are like, and like a dress shoe for like when
Yeah.
I really need to put on a suit or dress up a little bit more.
Well, they're not gonna let you in the club if you don't have a dress shoe.
So those are your 5. That's all you need.
No, I think that's good. Yeah, the loafers, definitely one dress shoe. But I would even say get 2 dress shoes, one in black, obviously because you're always gonna be able
Sure.
to use that. But the brown is so important. A lot of men are missing that brown dress shoe, and it makes your outfit with the blues. I think it makes them pop more. So you already have those blues in your closet. Those even the blacks. Instead of doing black on black, the brown kind of like brightens it up, elevates it.
Totally.
So it's not so obvious of like one color block, your jean, and then the same color block, or even if you do a different color pant, slacks, like you don't want it to be, I don't like the block look anymore. I think you got to add the style to it, and layer it in a way if you can.
Yeah, totally. And I think, like you said, brown complements, I'd say, most all colors, especially like the brighter ones. So if you have like something bright or a little bit louder, you can like tone it down with like a brown shoe or a brown set of pants.
Let's go with, for me, I know like jewelry. Okay, jewelry on men. Like, what is the basic line every man should have that kind of like, it's more of an elevated, like I'm a man versus I'm a boy.
For sure. So definitely like none of the little plastic rubbery watches. I hate those. Like a G-Shock watch, unless you're like, I don't know, a teenager, don't wear those.
Okay.
But for me, I think jewelry's come a long way for men, especially because I
Has
think
it?
before men didn't really wear a lot of jewelry, but now I see a lot of guys like wearing bracelets or necklaces, rings now too, especially. For me, I'm all about just like simple stuff. So a watch, a bracelet, and maybe a necklace kind of tucked in somewhere.
Yeah.
And again, depending on like where I'm going, maybe I'll throw on like a pinky ring, just like
Oh.
show a little bit of like flash there,
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, but I'd say for sure, I think the one thing every guy needs for sure for jewelry is just a watch. And it doesn't have to be some crazy expensive watch, but just a nice casual and or dress watch. If you can get both, that you can.
Now, what place would you recommend for that? For a guy who's like building, remember, these are mostly the guys who don't know how to dress or don't know where to start. Maybe they're not going to go for that expensive watch. What's a good solid watch that's, again, a grown man versus like,
I'm biased. So because I worked at Movado, I've always liked that brand only because it's been around for a long time. It's not super loud. It's recognizable. The quality is there. I think that's the other thing when you're buying these watches or anything in general, right? You want to think about, do I want to buy one thing that's going to last me a long time, pay a little bit more, or buy a bunch of cheap little things that like I have to change the battery or it's not working or it doesn't wear well over time?
yeah, oh my God, I have seen a guy wear a watch that wasn't working. I realized that. Yeah.
And like people notice those types of things, right? So it's not so much about the brand, but it's more about just like the quality or how you take care of things too.
Okay, now let's go to scent, because I think that applying, even for women, applying a scent to yourself, there's ways to do it, and you've worked actually with scents and you've had to sell those. They had to teach you how to sell those, right? So like and you were working where when they were
At Nordstrom.
At Nordstrom. So they taught you like colognes and perfumes, or just colognes? Because
Mostly just colognes.
okay, so as a man, like what were they kind of telling you? The scents that maybe were more popular, because I know everybody's different.
Totally.
Right? So
Scents, I think, is one of like the hardest things to figure out because it's really based on the individual. I might like a scent, but it may not suit or fit someone else.
yes.
I think one of the biggest things I learned, I wish I remembered her name. I was at Neiman Marcus in Tampa in undergrad, and this French lady that was working behind the beauty counter or whatever, like was educating me on how to apply scents, because most people these days apply it like on top of their clothes.
Yeah.
And I remember she taught me, she's like, when you sweat, you're sweating out of your pores, not through your clothes. So if you apply the scent on your skin, especially after like you shower, because your pores are more open, the scent tends to stick into your skin and it lasts longer.
I did hear that, and that's the thing though. I will say I always forget that part because I'm like rushing or something, and I'm already, by the time I'm dressed, I'm throwing it on top of my clothes. Like most of 9 times out of 10, I'm doing that.
Yeah, and I think people tend to, at least in my experience, remember scents more because it's naturally coming out of your skin, or like if they hug you or XYZ, if you're kissing, you can smell the scent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also big on not having multiple scents. I think I've only had like 2 or 3 colognes in my lifetime because I found one that I felt fit me. It used to be like this little Dior cologne that they had at Macy's. They stopped making it. And then as I came up a little bit, I started buying nicer ones. So I buy like at Neiman Marcus, the same one. And it's a scent that I get compliments on all the time. It's unique and it's, to me, not super loud. It's not like very floral-y either. It's like the scent. I always wanted, like when I walk by, people to be like, that smells good. But like, it's not like a lingering scent or like super loud, like some Axe spray type of thing.
Oh my God, no Axe spray. That literally needs to be banned.
Don't do it.
It needs to be banned, okay?
I'm honestly surprised they're still in business.
Yeah, no, and they are, and they're doing well.
I was gonna say they're kind of thriving.
They're thriving, yeah. I'm hoping it's just because like the teen boys are buying it up and they don't know any better, Like for me, I think that. How is it with cologne as far as like how many sprays should a guy really be spraying though when he gets out the shower? If he does it correctly, if he does it out the shower, or even if he let's just say he has to do it on top of the clothes. What are we talking? And where is it? Back of the neck. Where?
For me, I'd say like 2 to 3. So I tend to put on my neck, somewhere like on my arm,
on your wrist,
on
the
my
inside
wrist.
of your
Yeah,
wrist.
you want to put it like where you're gonna sweat a lot, and then sometimes just like along my chest, and that's really it.
Any more than that, you're doing too much.
Yeah. And again, I'm not doing like a big spray. It'll be like I'm barely pressing the thing to. And again, because the scents I have, I had to be educated on scents because there's different types of colognes. Some are more water-based, oil-based. The water-based ones tend to be cheaper, but they don't last as long. So I've invested in oil-based ones because they last longer. So, I mean, I can wear it early in the day, and then it's still carrying me through the rest of the day. If you're like on the go or you're working and then you're transitioning to like a date, you're meeting up with your friends, you don't have to be like, dang, I smell, or like the scent's gone away.
Yeah, I know, because that's the thing too. I think you also get like nose blind to it yourself. You might even still smell like it, but I always feel like I don't. So I will reapply. Like I don't care. I'm definitely not listening to your 2 or 3 thing. But I think as women, it's like you want to smell nice. You want to like have that when you walk by, that scent follow you. But I think for men, it doesn't apply the same way.
No,
like,
less is more.
Less
for sure.
is more. Yes. And there was something else I wanted to ask you though, and now I'm drawing a blank. But as far as like, so with fashion, we covered the that's what I was going to tell you. Okay, so when you're picking out your style, and you said that you would also call some of the girls, right, and ask them like what they thought of it. I thought that was such a great idea because when you're figuring it out, you don't know. I would say call your sister if you have one. Call a friend, any female friend, FaceTime them and have them really like critique your outfit before you buy it, right? Like when you're out shopping, or take someone with you. To do that. I think that would be really good because, again, when you do things on your own, a lot of men I know don't know what they're doing. And that's okay, but they need that guidance and a woman's eye too, right?
And the honesty. I mean, your boys are going to be like, yeah, it looks fly, but our girls will be like, maybe not.
Yeah, you're going to need to go up a size, but, or something like that. But I really like that. And, okay, so this one girl pointed out, she goes, when you're trying to figure out what your style is or what would look better, what colors would look good on you, she's like, you should look up someone that you think looks like you, that's like a celebrity, right, that looks like you. She's like, follow what they're doing, just because like they have a team, that pick out the right colors for their skin tone, like we talked about that, that know how to coordinate things, that dress them if you like how they dress, and to kind of mirror that, and if the same body type, things like that, which I was like, oh, that's really smart, That
does make sense. I mean, I would say I've mirrored a lot of my fashion after my mentors that have like been really successful and done a lot. And because I look up to them and want to be like them at some point in my life, I've always looked to see like how they're dressing. So even early on, I remember in high school going to like these super ritzy country clubs, and I'm like, what do you wear to these things?
Yeah, what would you wear to them?
Yeah, I just would watch my mentors. They'd wear like a golf polo shirt and like some nice slacks, a loafer, maybe a boat shoe. They're not like walking in with like an Air Jordan sneaker.
Yeah.
Or
No?
like a big Gucci shirt, even if they have the means to do it.
Right.
So for me, like you said, rather than maybe look at a celebrity, I'm looking at like these big business people that have been in my life and mirroring what they're doing, because I'm like, okay, this is what they're wearing, so I'm gonna mirror it in some way too.
I love that. It's so true. I feel like that's a good like start. This is a starter episode on how to dress for men, you know, because there's so much more we could get into. But I do think that like the basics are important. The solid pieces, the tailoring. Oh, and I do think every man needs one tailored suit. One tailored suit.
Well, I think all suits should be tailored.
Well, okay, yeah, you're right.
You want them fitted to your body. Like, you don't want a baggy suit. And I think, I don't care what guy you ask, regardless if they're into fashion or not. Like, we all want to feel our best when we're in something, right? I can't think of a guy that wants to look sloppy out in public.
Never.
So if you buy a suit, like, take the time to let someone fit it to your body frame so it suits you and it looks good. And I always think of that cheesy saying, like, when you look good, you feel, or when you feel good, you look, what is it?
When you look good, you feel good. Yeah.
So like when your clothes is together, you're like, okay, I can conquer the world. I can have success on this date, or I can close this business deal, or really get the introduction that I need to with this certain individual I want to meet with. And it takes that kind of like stress off of it.
I agree. I love that. Listen, these are your basics, guys. Share it with your friends. Make sure you call the girls when you're getting outfits, when you're out getting outfits. Jesus, you really have, to me, broken it down so nicely for the men. I thank you for that. Because I know that's it really is. I admire the way that you dress, the way that you carry yourself, the reason behind the outfit choices that you choose, and just the way everything from your jewelry to even your glasses are sleek and nice. Like, you know, you always keep your hair done really well.
I appreciate that.
So yeah, so I thought it was important for men to kind of get a guideline to that. And
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you. This is Brunch with Britney. Like I said, it's for the girls and it's for the guys too. My guest with me today is Jesus, a longtime friend of mine who has so much expertise. And I thank you so much for joining me.
Of course. Thanks for having me. This was fun. We'll have to do it again.
Yes, we will, for sure. We are out. Follow, subscribe, Brunch with Britney on YouTube, on iHeartRadio, on TikTok, Instagram, every platform. Follow. Thanks.